Welcome to Forensic Friday.
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. Well, hello, forensic friends.
That was way better.
Isn't that better? And not creepy?
Yeah.
My mic's on.
I mean, your intro. It's less creepy.
I thought you meant better because my mic's actually on.
I don't think you nor I can really tell the difference in the moment. I feel like it's probably Gare that can tell the difference.
Well, I told Gare about the room noise. We try to give him a little room noise if we have our fans going, which in the summers is going to happen.
Oh, my AC is going.
Oh, you're fine. He's like, you can't really hear it unless you have the headphones in. And I'm like, who's listening on headphones? I mean, AirPods, but I think you need to have like studio headphones to hear some of the things that he hears.
Oh.
So whatever. I think we're fine. Well, we just got back from conference in Breckenridge, which was amazing. We spoke about high-risk offenders and introduced our model for working with them, which I think went over well.
What did that, I don't know if we should have this on the podcast, but that other lady who already has the curriculum out, she was talking to you for a minute.
Oh, she had the curriculum lattices, which is also for antisocial psychopathic, but it's kind of a structured manual kind of a thing, which is great. I think that you and I are talking about
vaguely.
I
said I vaguely remember her talk, but I remember she was like pretty against MRT.
I think that theirs is billed as kind of an alternative to MRT. And we're saying use whatever modalities you want. This is an overarching approach, I think is what we're trying to look at, which is great.
Yeah.
Gare was amazing. Our behind the scenes producer like stepped up.
Knocked out of the park.
Mike. He was amazing.
And he was funny.
So funny.
We already know Gare's funny, but I feel like that's a hidden talent of his.
Yes.
You know?
Well, when my parents met him, he's quiet. And so they loved him, but they didn't understand us at first. Now they're like, oh God, we get it, because he's so funny. He's so unbelievably smart, but he really had a good sense for the room. He didn't go too technical. He kept it on track. I finally, like literally, y'all, I pulled up a seat and sat and listened to him because it was so good. I was like, he's so amazing. So really proud of him. And I think I told you guys, but he didn't know he was doing it. He got the acceptance in his email. That's how Gare found out we were presenting.
Yeah.
God bless him. Okay. He's a good man. I knew he wouldn't want to do it otherwise, so I just pushed it through. We just pushed it through.
We'll see if it gets accepted.
I know. And I didn't know if it would. I thought it might be too niche or whatever,
Yeah.
So I was at the pool and I was watching the World Cup because the World Cup game's going on right now as we're recording this.
Is Justin Bieber singing in it?
I don't know.
I saw someone.
I didn't see him in the beginning. Okay. Do they have halftime? It's like a halftime show? I know nothing about soccer. Nothing.
Same. No. Same.
I don't know anything about soccer. But
same.
I saw the funniest. Did I send you the TikTok I saw the other day? About women in labor, like handling their business, and then male soccer players like throwing themselves all over the field.
Yeah.
Oh, that just sent me. So I was watching the beginning of the game and they're all just dropping like flies. I mean, if somebody looks at them and they just like flop over, and I know that it's like strategy, but it still is just very funny to me. I'm like,
also, what strategy is it?
Well, I think they're trying to draw foul. But then you have like, what's her name? Sophie Cunningham, like bodying people in the.
She's hilarious. I love her. She's so funny.
Oh,
when she like literally grabbed that chick by her head and like slammed her on the ground, I was like, girl, I'm not against it.
Listen, if we played basketball,
play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Well, they were picking on her buddy. If we were on a
Yes.
basketball team together, we are kind of. It's called therapy. We're on the therapy
Called
basketball team.
coworkers.
But if somebody messes with one of our people, I am pissed. And if no one intervenes, then we feel like we need to handle it. It's not different. What's different is that this woman is an Amazon goddess and she is throwing people to the ground. The pointing, when that girl pointed at her and then she got all pissed and she pointed at her the whole game. I was like, oh,
She's so funny.
you sassy. She's so sassy.
Grace started doing the pointing thing, and my parents love Sophie Cunningham, and so they were like telling her she's the new Sophie because Grace keeps pointing.
She is a little bit of a Sophie. You guys, we played with Nat, or we did play with Nat, but we played with Grace and Nat in the pool.
Yeah.
And it was the most fun. I mean, I never even get in the pool. I usually get in the hot tub. We had a boat and a ball, and we were zooming around the pool. It was like very sweet, very fun. Good brain break.
It was really fun.
We met a couple of hilarious kids. One kid named Riley.
We gotta give Riley a shout out. I don't know if we should say his full government name.
No, he told us to say his full
because he's a minor.
But this one's for you, Riley.
Yes, you're a minor though, so we're not going to share your last name.
We're not going to share your last name, but those were some cool kids too. They were really fun.
Yeah. I cannot believe they were twins.
They don't look like twins.
No.
You
know what? I mean, being a twin that also doesn't look like their twin, I get it.
That's true. But you guys at least look the same age. They don't look the same age, which they were messing with me, but their mom confirmed.
Yeah, well, and I saw their baby picture. Sounds so weird.
Just fake friends. You know, every year I'm like, I think we know everybody, and then we meet more people. Oh, it was so fun.
I know. They were good kids. They were fun.
And I'm glad it's over.
I was walking into the garage, and Riley goes, "Hi, Natalie."
Riley was the whole time.
Yeah, no,
I told him, I was like, you could listen to our Diamond Geezers episode. That's a kid-appropriate episode.
Do we cuss in that one?
No, I don't think so. I've listened to it with Mac.
Okay.
And then I talked to him about his mom because his mom came down. She's lovely. And I'm like, I don't want her to think I'm weird sitting here talking to her kid, but he was so fun. And I was selling Mac on him because Mac was coming the next night and I wanted them to get to hang out. Yeah. And so I'm talking to him. I'm like, well, what is your mom doing? He goes, well, she works with like, sex crimes and stuff. And I'm like, oh, your mom's weird too. You got a mom like me. He's like, yeah, we come to this conference. I'm like, yeah, we do too, That's
so funny.
Very sweet. So I have a case for us.
Hey.
This came through my feed like on my way to conference. And so I've been kind of messing with it since then, but I put it together. This one's going to make you mad. It's also going to take you back to a place that I think you've been, but I'm not sure if you've hiked this before. You'll have to tell me if you've hiked this particular place. Okay. Do we have a delay in our internet? Are we good? Let me check mine.
I think we're good.
I think we're good. Mine's been crappy too, so it could be mine. So the title of today's episode is The Youth Pastor and Angel's Landing.
Oh, I have hiked Angel's Landing.
I thought you hadn't. Aren't there like chains?
I loved it.
Tell me what it's like, because there's like chains going up, right? Like you hold on to things.
This is in Zion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we hiked Angel's Landing the first year that we went to Zion. And I loved it. Yeah, you have to hang on to chains for a lot of it. There's chains that like literally stop you from falling off cliffs.
That's so stressful.
I mean, it's not something you would take an inexperienced hiker on. It's not like you have to really climb.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not take anyone. Honestly, I would not take teenagers on this.
Mm-mm.
Anyone who's like prone to goofing around on a hike, I would not take on.
Are you, I don't think that you are, but I'm going to ask anyway. Are you roped in at all, or you're just using the chains like as an assist as you go? Cause it's steep, right?
Yeah. So it's like, there's normal parts to it where you don't need the chains and they're not necessarily present, but like the higher you get, they chain it up. So like there's like one part I remember, or I mean, there quite a bit of it once you get high enough, like yeah, it's chained off so that you literally like it's like between you and the cliff. So you like hang on to it, but it's like the only barrier between you and falling.
And I've seen pictures. It looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in my I used to be a non-hiker.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm in my hesitant hiker era, but I really am trying to get out there a little bit more.
Good.
I have legit marrows. I'm getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And Yellowstone opened up a whole new world for me. I was like, I can actually do this. And I was very excited and I like loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, wait a minute, people vacation less expensively and look at all of these beautiful free things. I could get behind this.
Mm-hmm.
I could. And my budget in my 40s would appreciate more sightseeing and less,
Yep.
Travel
Yes.
type things. I can't afford to do that right now.
Yeah.
So we are going to start this story at Angel's Landing.
Okay.
So on August 22nd, 2006, David and Bernadette Van Der Meer hiked to the top of Angel's Landing before dawn to photograph the sunrise. Only one of them came down. For almost 20 years, the official story was that Bernadette slipped. This is the story of how the sunrise itself, the exact minute it broke over the canyon, helped unravel that lie.
Oh gosh. So is this a married couple?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So I want to talk about the people a little bit, and then we're going to talk about what happened. So Bernadette Van Der Meer was 29 at the time of her death. She was a gifted vocalist. She recorded demos, everything from like Aretha Franklin, Christina Aguilera, Patti LaBelle, and she performed as a casino pianist and singer in Las Vegas. She was the household breadwinner. She worked graveyard shifts, and her tips and her paycheck went to her husband, who controlled the finances. Okay. She was an experienced, capable hiker. Her father described her as a mountain goat, affectionately, that she loves to hike and was very comfortable hiking.
Okay.
So August 22nd was the couple's 10th anniversary trip to Zion National Park in Utah. They set out around 4:20 a.m. toward Angel's Landing. And as you shared earlier, it's basically a 1,500-foot sandstone formation with a notoriously exposed final approach up to the summit. What David told everyone was he set up a camera to catch Bernadette's silhouette against the sunrise. And he stepped 5 to 10 feet away to move their backpacks out of the frame. He heard a scream and she was gone. There was a 911 call logged at 6:20 a.m. And this was ruled an accident at the time. There was no witness, limited investigation, but investigators noted it was a little bit suspicious, like anything like this. And one of the things that I researched is the location of the trail. It is one of the most dangerous, deadliest trails in America. People do fall. But they don't typically fall where she fell. They typically fall in other parts of the ascent. And it's something like over 15 people have died. Only 4 from this specific place. 2 were suspicious and 2 were suicides.
Wow.
Right. And the rest of them happened more in that lead up, that knife edge area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's where people tend to lose footing. Bernadette was on the summit, which is when the hard part's over.
The summit is still like it's open, but yeah, it's like you'd have to probably intentionally fall off the summit.
Yes. What they said is it's comparatively flat. So it's still not like It's still
No,
dangerous,
yeah.
but it's comparatively
There's
flat.
no guardrails, but yes, it's flat.
It's flat. And so it's kind of weird that somebody would hike this really dangerous, difficult, steep part and then fall off the flat part. That felt a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm. So, like I said, of the cluster, and they keep track. I didn't know this. It makes sense though. They keep track of deaths from different parts of different trails. Like they mark them on maps so that they can put safety parameters in place. It also helps search and rescue when things happen. It is interesting that from the summit, they've only had more suspicious deaths. It hasn't really been verified accidental slips from that part of the trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for 20 years, that it really has just laid there, this case. 20 years, because they couldn't really go back and do much. There's not much from the body that would have changed. There isn't much to go back and review, except for a tip that surfaced rather recently. So I'm going to share with you some other things that were going on. In all of our mountain suspicious deaths that we've covered, what is like the most common theme, would you say?
They slip.
Yes. And what has typically changed right before?
Life insurance
Life
policies.
insurance.
Yeah.
Life insurance. Every time there's a change in the life insurance, I think we should bubble wrap the spouse. Like increase where they're getting a 24-hour
surveillance.
We're going to surveil them immediately.
Yeah.
Yes. So shortly before the trip, the couple raised their life insurance benefits from roughly $150,000 to $600,000 each. Now, Bernadette understood that that money was protection for her mother and her disabled sister.
Okay.
David changed the password on the shared computer holding the policy documents. Bernadette discovered this in front of her mother days before she died.
Oh my gosh.
Days before she died, she goes to log into the computer and she can't because the password is goofed up.
No.
In 2007, so remember this happened in 2006. In 2007, David collected a payout of about $567,439. And per investigators began living lavishly, buying cars and funding trips for youth group members. I'm going to get into that. Her family says they never received a cent of the money meant for them. So of all this money that is for her mother and her disabled sister, they never received any of it. When Bernadette had earlier asked for a divorce, the youth pastor's response was reportedly, "What would people think?" Okay. This is where you're going to get a little frustrated. And I did too. And by little, I mean you're going to want to like punch his lights out, but that is now impossible for reasons I will get into.
Yeah.
So, in the most recent affidavit, okay, because the facts in this case are allegedly for reasons I will get into, okay? But there is a sworn affidavit, and I was careful to pull information from those sources because this is a kind of a tender one in some ways, okay?
Right.
So there is a person, a woman in this case, whose initials are SH. She was a victim of grooming and statutory abuse. And she was present in the picture with David when Bernadette died.
Okay.
Bernadette met David when she was 14 and he was her youth pastor. He was 9 years her senior, an authority figure in the church. It was textbook grooming. A gift, a hug, a hand on the knee. It was just increasing over time, which is what happens in these cases, right? She reported the first sexual encounter happened at the age of 16 at a cabin.
Mhm.
The abuse continued for years at pay-by-the-hour motels. I didn't even know that was still a thing. And inside the church after hours. And I've worked with several survivors. I'm sure you have too, Nat, where the abuse has taken place in the church. And that is it's just an extra layer of yuck, you know?
Yeah.
He gave her a separate phone to be able to reach him. And this was confirmed via phone records. And at 18, he had her move out of her mother's home into an apartment he rented to have a place for the abuse.
Gross.
Mm-hmm. So now when we have a situation like this, right? Why do pastors have so much power over their congregants, particularly a youth pastor, but this is true for pastors of adults as well?
We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Southeast Counseling Center. Southeast Counseling Center is a 501c3 nonprofit mental health provider right here in Parker, Colorado, conveniently located just off major highways. We serve the whole family, from play therapy for kids to couples and family therapy, trauma treatment, psychological testing, and specialized groups. Access matters. That's why Southeast Counseling Center accepts Medicaid, TriWest, and victim compensation, and also offers a community subsidy program to help people who fall in the gap between Medicaid and traditional insurance coverage. And because we're a nonprofit, every dollar donated by the community goes directly towards providing treatment services for people who need help. Prefer to meet at home? Telehealth is available statewide, so anyone in Colorado can access our services. To get started, call 720-842-5553 or fill out our secure web inquiry form at secounseling.org. Southeast Counseling Center, care that is accessible, compassionate, and rooted in the community. I don't know if it's that. That's an interesting way to put it. Why do they have so much power? I would say, weirdly enough, people unintentionally give them that power because they look to them as like so many things, right? A spiritual guide, a life, basically like a life coach in some ways, so a lot of congregants unintentionally give them this power because they look up to them. But also, pastors step into these roles. Most, if not all, know that they have a really strong influence, and then you put the wrong person in that type of position, and it gets taken advantage of, and they abuse people.
Yes. And I agree totally, Nat. And I think you're right that the power is not necessarily inherent. It's like given, but also taken. Depending on the personality of the person.
Yeah, it's abused, and it's taken advantage of when it's given, when that type of trust and power is given.
Yes. And I grew up in evangelical culture, but I was not a youth group kid per se. I never really got into that, but I grew up really surrounded by it. And these youth pastors, it's such a tender thing because teenagers are obsessed with their peers and their friends, and they are so trusted because it's not mom and dad. It's this person who's interested in them, and it can be such a beautiful thing when done well. Like when done well, these are people that your whole life. They come to your wedding, they come to when your kids are born. Like it can become a lifelong, really cool relationship. But at its worst, it can be extraordinarily abusive because they have a lot of access, because they tend to be pretty trusted in churches. And the other thing that I find weird is statistically, and I'm not man-hating, I think men are great. Statistically speaking, male youth pastors, men who have authority over younger people, there is a higher risk of that person sexually abusing the people below them, just statistically. Not because men are
Right.
bad, but that's just literally statistics. That's where it lands. And
Right.
so if we're handing our kids over and our kids are so happy to go and this is a good thing and it's good values and all of that, it can be easy, I think, to miss the line between a really trusted youth pastor and somebody who's taking an inordinate amount of interest in your kid. It's hard to
Mhm.
know what that line is. And there's a
Right.
lot of great people who are youth pastors too, who like give their lives to really
Yeah.
serving young people. But when it's bad, it's bad.
Right.
So I actually know, and I'm going to be cautious in the details that I give. I
Yeah.
know of a situation that I grew up with in which the youth pastor married someone who was in the youth group. I want to say there was a six youth pastors are often young. That's not abnormal.
Yeah.
So I believe
Yeah.
he was in his early 20s and she was like maybe 17 when they started dating, something like
Mhm.
that, which is a big enough difference that it makes me uncomfortable, but also
Mhm.
this person was kind of in college. If she's 18 and he's 22 and they meet in a college ministry, I mean,
Mhm.
it's just like this is where it gets all blurry and weird. But anyway,
Mhm.
they ended up getting married. They have kids. Like it ended up being an okay end to that story. But I remember even as a girl being like, wait a minute, he's
Mhm.
like the adult though. Like that's it's
Right.
weird. And it didn't
Right.
come out until she turned 18, but they'd had a lot of
Mhm.
time together. And I was like, wait, that's something, I didn't love it.
Mhm.
Anyway, so what was happening for this girl, SH, is David was taking a real special interest in her. They're having this sexual relationship. And it's getting harder and harder for them to find their alone time
Right.
because Bernadette started kind of feeling like something was off. Maybe not
Yeah.
with a girl, but just feeling like something was off in the marriage.
Yeah.
So he finally tells SH the only way that they could be together is if Bernadette was not alive.
Oh no. He
Mhm.
says this to her.
He says this to her. But again, no one speaks a word of it for 20 years. 20 years. So after Bernadette died, David has the youth group members sit Shiva, right, in his living room after the death. Meaning they sit there, they're supporting him, he's grieving, whatever, right? And he takes a
Right.
break in the relationship actually for 2 to 3 months, and then the relationship resumes.
Mm.
Well, then he and SH get married privately in 2008,
Oh my gosh.
reportedly so he could use her health insurance. They get married
Does he not
public.
have health insurance as a pastor?
Uh-uh. Nope. And remember, Bernadette was putting in work
Oh, that's
to
right.
support him.
Mhm.
Hmm. So they marry secretly in 2008. Then they have a public wedding in 2010.
Oh my gosh.
2014, they get divorced because SH
Huh.
believed that he'd been cheating on her too.
Mm.
Hmm. Now, one of the things that I saw online was that he was trying to have an open relationship. Okay.
Okay.
I was not able to verify that. So I don't know if that's actually true or not, but she was
Yeah.
suspicious that he was cheating.
Okay.
Okay. So when we think back, and you and I've talked about this before, if he pushed her, and I'm going to say that he did, and we'll get into specifics, but why do men jump to, and women too? I mean, we've done a couple cases where women killed their husbands,
Mhm.
jump to death over divorce, particularly in a case like this. Why death over divorce? They did not have kids.
Well,
They didn't have a
it's
lot of
the
money.
money. The life insurance policy is a motivator.
Mm-hmm.
If it's, if they're a Christian and a pastor, right? Divorce looks bad.
Yes.
And there's like somewhat of a stigma. But here's the thing, guys, like we're in 2026.
I know.
Like,
Yes.
unfortunately, affairs are more common than not.
Yes.
And so like at the end of the day, just divorce if you want to be with someone else.
Yeah. Also, you have bigger fish to fry, bro, because I think a lot of it was image. He wanted
Oh,
to
yeah.
be the grieving husband,
Yeah.
widower. He did not want to be the youth pastor having an inappropriate relationship. And I think she was on the verge of finding out.
Yeah. Oh, probably.
Right. So he's like, this is going to be a much
Well,
better
if they're
look
not
for me.
financially doing well and she's holding it up and then she sees like a random bill come in for an apartment, she's like, what's this?
We'll be right back.
If you work with court-ordered clients, you already know the system can be overwhelming. Documentation, coordination, compliance tracking, billing, on top of actually doing the therapy. That's why we want to tell you about Reliatrax, a one-stop platform built specifically for therapists working in the court-ordered space and voluntary treatment. Reliatrax helps you stay connected with probation and referral sources so everyone's on the same page and your clients get the best care possible without the endless emails, calls, and paperwork. And here's the exciting part. Reliatrax now offers Aura, their new AI assistant. Aura helps streamline documentation, keeps you organized, and supports your workflow so you can spend less time clicking boxes and more time doing clinical work. Reliatrax also supports insurance billing, including Medicaid, making it easier to serve both court-ordered and voluntary clients all in one system. No juggling platforms and no workarounds. And the other amazing thing is you have an actual team of people who can support you, not some automated system. If you're looking for a smarter, more efficient way to manage compliance, communication, and care, Reliatrax was built for this. Check out Reliatrax and see how it can support you, your clients, and the systems you work in without burning you out. You can go to www.reliatrax.com to get started. Oh, for sure. For
You know what I
sure.
mean?
Yes. And I also think that he would have been at risk for prosecution. He would have been at risk for some other things too. So it's like this, if we just cut this off and then she and I go back into secret mode and she gets older, this is the story in my head is he's waiting for her to get old enough for this to not be weird.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other question I have for you is there an age at which this is not weird?
No, because he was her, like he was an authority figure in her life. And so that's weird.
Well, yeah, we talk about this with counseling. So 2 years you're allowed to be friends or be in a relationship. 2 years after you terminate the counseling relationship. That's weird. I know
It's
that
weird.
people do that, but it's weird.
I was thinking about this the other day because we know random people that have done stupid things.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about it and I was like, there's literally no way that if I like had a friend who was like, you know what, I haven't seen them even in 5 years, like it doesn't matter.
Yep.
And they're like, I reconnected with an old client and we're dating. I would be like, you were literally like a support to whatever challenge they were going through. This is not a mutual relationship and it didn't start that way. And it won't be that because you already established yourself in a way of being someone who supports them in a really like deep way, but that wasn't ever reciprocated. And if it was, then it was already inappropriate. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's weird. It's weird.
And there's a lot of people in the world. I just don't understand why our ponds are so tiny. Like we gotta fish somewhere else. You know?
Online dating, guys. I know people who meet people from out of the country and they end up getting married.
Yeah.
Like there's options.
There's lots of bonds. But I think in his case, it really, really did just feel easier. This is a man who did nothing for himself because guess what else he had SH do? Bernadette, who was getting more and more suspicious because there were teen girls calling the house at all hours. Drove to the church one night, pounded on the door, and screamed for David to come out. He was inside the building and he instructed SH, this teenage girl, to go answer the door and tell his wife he wasn't there.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's so weird.
He's a little chicken shit, this guy. Like, hey, why don't you go confront my wife? Pretty scary, eh? Like, he's just going to hide behind a table.
The wife obviously knew he was up to something if she's pounding on the door.
100%. And good on you, Bernadette. Like, Bernadette's a forensic friend, I feel like. I really do. And I don't know why she went up on the mountain with him that day. Maybe he told her he was a changed man or he was going to be home more or whatever.
But where were they from?
They were from, great question. Well, I know she'd been a singer in Vegas. I don't know where they were living.
Okay, so they were like not far from, they were potentially not living far from Zion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that this was like a massive trip for them.
Yeah.
But it was specifically for their anniversary.
Okay.
So maybe he was, promising he was going to turn a leaf or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, of course, history to this. Whenever we hear that somebody has acted out in this way, there were almost always signs that get ignored. Right? And Nat has quite literally seen me crash out over these things. So let's review why we don't let these things go. Shall we? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a chauvinist, you're not going to enjoy this part. So just fast forward if you need to. So basically, the access machine for David is youth ministry gives an ever-changing group of vulnerable teenagers. Think about it. They age out, and then a lot of times when they're seniors and they go on, if they stay in town, then they help in the youth group. So it's this kind of consistent flow of people, but it does require some level of management because kids also do talk. They do talk. And so this is why pastors sometimes bounce around also.
Yeah.
After Bernadette's death, David moved to another church and just continued hosting parties for minors with alcohol and gambling, which finally got him fired in 2008. Right? So one of the things we've talked about, but I want to be like really clear, churches are terrible at doing background checks.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Because there's a calling, I don't want to put it in quotes, some people believe in it, whatever, it's fine. But like, they just are called to another congregation, and a lot of times they just get basically hired. And I don't think they have the kind of hard conversations that we do. You and I get background checked, fingerprinted to get on the board that we're on to be an approved provider. We're held to a higher standard just as a treatment provider in Colorado than a lot of employers and youth pastors are. They don't check this stuff out.
Yeah.
In April of 2022, okay, a former youth group member tipped police off that David had engaged in that behavior and was sexually involved with a minor at the time of Bernadette's death. So it wasn't, remember, 2006 is when she died. April of 2022, a former youth group member came forward. Investigators interviewed SH by phone.
Okay.
Noted further follow-up was needed, and then no one followed up. And the case went cold for another 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
The whistleblower wouldn't quit.
Good.
Would not quit. And so the whistleblower spent years trying to get local and federal authorities to reopen the case. No one would call him back. And it was only when a lawyer friend connected him to a retired DA.
It's always the retired people.
It's always retired people. Well, that's how we're going to be. We're going to be like 80 riding around with our guns and our PI situation. Because they're going to be like, you can't do therapy anymore. You can't remember which shoe to put on your right foot. You know, and I'm going to be like,
Do PI stuff.
I PI stuff, of course. We'll call it Old Biddy's investigation or something. But that retired DA connected him to investigator Jessica Bate in October of 2025. Oh, it's going to make you mad. You're going to get mad. At the time of his arrest, he was a licensed school counselor at Somerset Academy, Lone Mountain, a public charter school, and a yoga instructor at the Summerlin studio where he was arrested. Nevada's charter authority confirmed his counseling license had recently been renewed after the required background check because the allegations had never produced criminal charges, so they didn't appear. So people had investigated him, and there wasn't even enough record to flag it before he became a school counselor. Then the school mishandled that, and the parents at the school learned that their child's counselor was arrested for murder on the news, not from the school.
Lawsuit.
Now, I've already gotten one photo ticket in Mac's school zone. Now, I was going 27 and a 25. I was doing that. I take accountability for my actions. I'd be going 80 in this situation. I'd be like, is he still here? Where's he at? This is unbelievable. And to find out in the news that somebody had access to your kid is unbelievable. Isn't that just crazy? And it's because they didn't pick it up. They didn't keep going. They didn't, you know what I mean? We just let it go, let it go, let it go. And these people bounce around, and there's a little hint over here and a hint over there, and we just let them keep doing their nonsense.
Nope.
So the witness, SH, now an adult, sat with investigator Jessica Bate in December of 2025, just this past December, described the grooming, the phone, the church door lie, and basically said he told her the if Bernadette wasn't alive, they could be together statement. So she said, you know, this is what he said. Phone records corroborated the secret line. But here's what really cracked the case. And this is why when you're lying, you got to keep your story straight, right? An officer used NASA and public astronomical data to establish sunrise that day was 6:54 a.m., more than a half hour after David's 6:20 911 call. When he said the light reached the summit and he was taking a picture of the sunlight streaming in behind his beautiful wife, which was physically impossible because the sun wasn't up yet.
Right.
A fatality review looked at where she died and argued successfully again that this didn't fit an accident. And then they also then went into the insurance policy and the changed password and Bernadette's own handwritten notes describing loneliness and a husband who lavished attention on the youth group.
Gross.
I write everything down too, by the way. I mean, I have notes everywhere. So, I mean, your job is to go through my notes app if something happens to me. Because number one, most of it won't make sense. And if there's anything embarrassing, you'll know what it is. And your job is to delete it.
Okay.
Okay. I'll do the same for you. It's mostly shopping, I'm sure. So, here's how the arrest happened. Investigator Jessica Bate compiled her filings into a 17-page probable cause affidavit, which was signed June 16th, 2026, a month ago. On June 22nd, 2026, the U.S. Marshals arrested him, David Van Der Meer, in Las Vegas, and he was taken into custody at the yoga studio where he taught.
Perfect.
Uh-huh. And he was booked into the Clark County Detention Center.
Hmm.
So this is 20 years later. This son of a gun gets arrested.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Charges were murder with a domestic violence enhancement and insurance fraud filed by the Washington County, Utah Attorney's Office.
Hmm.
The murder count alleges he intentionally and knowingly caused Bernadette's death. The fraud count ties to the insurance payout. Isn't that
That's
crazy?
wild. That is so wild.
A June 25th extradition hearing was set. The step to move him from Nevada to Utah to face trial. So they were going to move him, right? They needed to move him, extradite him. He was expected to be asked whether he would fight extradition. He never answered. He never answered. There was no trial, no defense, no cross-examination, no jury. Because hours before the June 25th hearing, officers found David Van Der Meer unresponsive in his cell, alongside a handwritten suicide note and a handwritten will. He was taken to University Medical Center for what police called self-sustained injuries and pronounced dead the next day.
That's so annoying.
The sheriff later described the manner as self-strangulation with a review underway. On the morning that he was supposed to face a courtroom for the first time in 20 years, a judge walked in and told the room David Van Der Meer was dead. And so the case that took 2 decades to build will no longer be argued, tested, or answered.
That's wild.
So what is justice in this case, Nat? Because on the one hand, the truth came out, which is something.
Yeah.
Right? And it was, the whistleblower was actually a pastor who he worked
Good.
for at one point. Yep. Barry
Good.
Diamond. Mm-hmm.
Yay.
So we've got a
that's
good pastor in
redemption.
this one, which is encouraging.
Yeah.
You know? But what does justice look like for SH and her family?
Well, and for Bernadette. I mean, shoot. You know? Well, it's a bummer because he was a coward and took his own life.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I'm not saying that everyone who takes their own life is a coward, but he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he never had to answer to the things that he did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he avoided that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I don't know what justice would look like for her, but I don't know if she feels like some relief that he's no longer perpetrating on kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, there's relief for me that there's one less perpetrator.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about my sister-in-law's story of the same man messing with us years apart, like how prolific these people can be.
Mm-hmm.
It's heartbreaking to think about the number of victims.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful there won't be more, but he had allegedly had a 20-year history of this. So he obviously was not found guilty. So that's the other tricky thing is we have to say according to the affidavit. And I did stick closely to the affidavit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to believe SH.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should all believe Bernadette when she went down to the church and was like, hey, what's happening here?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the suicide note said. I tried to find that because I was curious, you know.
And like the will. Also, what is he giving away?
Well, and there's a component of psychopathy that's front and center here, which is parasitic lifestyle. Not only was he a parasite on his wife, allegedly, she's working graveyard, she's doing all this work, he's the celebrated youth pastor.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he married this poor girl, and she was a girl, it was for her damn health insurance, and then she's working to float his boat too.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yep.
if he was a licensed school counselor, this I find interesting too, because when people go through school to become a counselor,
Mm-hmm.
we have supervisors who are gatekeepers. And you and I are supervisors, so we do gatekeeping, and we've had incredible interns over the years. We've also had a few where we're like, hey, I don't know. I don't know if you're ready for this, or maybe this isn't the right field for you, or
Mhm.
you got to go work on some things over here so they don't come up with your clients.
Mhm.
Because he worked at a charter, I didn't have time to look into this, but I wonder if he had like a professional state licensure or if it was like a certificate, or I don't know, that he was like a formal licensed school counselor. That is what it says.
Mhm.
But that would have meant he would have had to have gone to school and probably gotten a master's and a full-blown license.
Right.
And we've seen predatory behavior before in people in counseling programs, and
It's scary.
it's scary.
Yeah. It is scary.
So now what would you say to parents whose kids, and I have like little family members who are like all excited about youth group,
Mhm.
what would you tell parents who are trusting their kids to participate in youth group, club sports, like just anything that has a lot of that
Yeah.
contact?
Yeah. I would say teach your kids
Mm-hmm.
confidence.
Mm-hmm.
That they, like tell them signs. Like if you feel uncomfortable with something, talk to me. If a coach or a pastor or a teacher
Mhm.
says something that doesn't seem right, talk to me, right? Um, but I would say, you know, I was sitting here wondering, and this isn't always the case, and I know that, but I'm sitting here wondering what were the teens, what was her family like? Like, were they really present in her life?
Mm.
Was she, yeah, because sometimes you see this stuff happen. I've talked to people where they're like, yeah, my parents weren't really present. And so I trusted too much in other adults and,
Mhm.
you know, I got taken advantage of, or I was groomed or whatever. Right. And so like, I would encourage parents, I don't know how to say this. If you have a hard time being really present, do some work for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't think any parent would ever want this to happen. Also, the coaching and teaching has to come from you to
Yes.
to help them be aware of what this looks like. And it doesn't mean you have to like be scary and tell them that people are scary, right? But it's like I'm thinking of my daughters, and I know you and I've talked about this a little bit, like daughters, I just like it's scarier. It's scarier for me, in my opinion, to have a daughter than to maybe have a
Mhm.
son. And I'm not saying boys don't get perpetrated on, because they do.
They
I've had
do.
many clients talk about that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is, you know, I'm going to do the best that I can to teach my daughter how to walk like a trucker.
Shardy does.
She does.
Nobody's
She
gonna
really
mess with
does.
that baby. That's a strong
No,
baby.
but to have confidence and to not, like, hey, if a teacher holds you after class, have someone stay with you.
Yep.
Um if a coach wants to talk to you on the side, make sure people are around.
Yeah.
If you need to get held after school, you let us know,
Mm-hmm.
and I will come sit with you during that time.
Yeah.
Like you should never be alone with another adult. You just shouldn't be.
No, and one of the
Ever.
things one of the
Ever.
things in that book, Predators, that's so good is if you're a parent and you're sending your kids into a new environment or even an existing environment,
Mhm.
don't hesitate to be a jump scare. A
Oh,
healthy, adjusted adult in that position of trust is going to have no issue with you showing up, asking questions, shaking their hand. If they start treating you like you're weird, or if you notice that your kid is pushing you away more because they've come into contact with this person,
mhm.
get in there.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
get
yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Make it weird, ask hard questions,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
early and often.
Any coach or teacher Grace has,
Mm,
I mean, the thing is, and you and I we talked about this in a previous episode when they were interviewing, I forget who they were interviewing, but they were interviewing a predator. I think he was a serial killer, but for like kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked him like, what would deter you? And he said basically strong dads.
Yes.
Right. So like if I see that the kid has a strong dad, I'm less likely to approach.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
involved
like
parents. Yeah.
yes, involved parents. And so I mean, I know I'm little, but I don't have a lot of people who mess with me anymore. And no one messes with my husband. So besides
No.
me, I mess with him sometimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, that's fun. But no,
Poor guy.
I agree with you, Nat. I think you just have to be as aware and as formidable and involved as you can be.
Mm-hmm.
And just know that the places that you think are the most safe are probably the least for that reason, because people assume they're safe. And that doesn't mean your kid shouldn't be involved in them. But travel, sports, school, sleepovers, youth group, like the list goes on and on. But anytime there's a lot of kids.
Also, guys, here's the other thing, like sleepovers.
I know.
My kiddo won't sleep over at people's houses unless I'm there or it's literally family, you know, and even then, I mean, I trust my family members. I trust my in-laws and everyone, but you know, aside from family, like sleepovers that's like the number one place that all my people are like, I slept over at a friend's house and their big older sibling, sisters and brothers, you know, like it's a recipe for disaster. So like, you know.
Well, and even if you're having a get together and the kids have been downstairs a really long time, like run down with some water bottles, like just get a feel for what's happening. And I think what Nat said, having that open dialogue is so important. And then if your kiddo has been targeted, just getting them really good care and support, and believe them the second they say anything. Just believe them and get involved. Yep. You know?
Yep.
So, thanks for joining me for this case.
Yeah.
I know. It's it's kind of Steve adjacent, you know. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one, but it brings up important stuff.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's important to really think through, like, you know, keep your eyes open, keep your eyes on your kids. And if something weird, if your kid is staying late at a church, no. That's the thing though. It's like, and again, I know parents do the best they can with what they have.
They do.
And also, like, just, you know.
Yeah. If it looks weird, it's probably weird.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Well, thank you, Nat. And we'll see you guys next week, as always.
Bye, forensic friends.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening, and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.